on the ultimate adventure skiff. In this video, you're gonna watch a wild transformation where I butcher a boat, cut it in half, extend it, then extend it again, and well, this is the finished final result. If you haven't seen part one of this build, you're gonna wanna stop this video, click the link right here, and this is gonna give you the first half. It was an hour-long video in the last part. This video is actually gonna be an hour and a half long, so I hope you're ready. This build is pretty intense. I tried a little different style than normal for filming, so I hope you enjoyed this build. Without further ado, let's finish this project and let's build. I want to show you guys the transition. Pretty awesome. So the transition from, and that is not much at all. All right, so I mixed putty, filled all the seams and little air voids, little gaps. It's time to laminate. All right, it is laminated. All right, got it all sanded down. Now what I'm gonna do is just spray gel coat. Coat it in the gel coat. See my edges. Pretty much everything's sanded, tapered, fairly smooth. So this gel coat is really gonna act as like a high build primer and to seal this glass. All right. So I got it looks very transparent, and that's because it's a neutral gel coat that I just tinted white, so it's kind of see-through, very see-through. But we at least got it sealed. You know, now that it's glossy, you can see a lot of the lines, the body lines. How imperfect they are. Well, when it did something. Yes, added 7.5 feet, only to cut off about 3. So what I wanted was, why in the world would I do this? Well, I wanted the ability to have really a semi-displacement hole. That means it would act like a displacement hole at low speeds, meaning just slice through the water, super efficient, but the ability to get on plane and cruise. And with this stern, there's just no way, because this has a curve to it, rocker. And if you try to get on plane with a displacement hole like this, the back end squats and just pushes water. So by eliminating this, it's also going to give it a little bit more stability. But if you look down, you know, it's pretty straight bottom from here. This is about where the curve began. So that's the idea there. All right, we got a boat. That's what we're looking at. So I'm gonna trim this piece out and prep the back for transom. All right. Just grinding it down. Right, we got a transom. There we go. All right, so I got my transom measured. So I'm gonna be running a short shaft motor on this boat. So really, even though they advertise short shaft motors as 15-inch shaft, you want about 17 inches. That's kind of the magical number for lightweight little skiffs. That'll put the cavitation plate right even with the bottom of the transom. So I'm gonna snip it off and rock and roll. All right, it is time for a test run. We're going for the Gusto. We're going with the 10 horsepower. I know it says 15. This is Barney's famous 10 horsepower. Look at that, 10. These were the non-American models. So what do you guys think the 10 horsepower is gonna do on the 18-foot skiff? When Maurice and I tested this motor out, I think we got like mid-20s, 25, 26 miles per hour Maurice got on the 16-foot GNU Slayer. That's the 50 mile per hour build. If you haven't seen that build, you want to check it out. But this was one of the motors we tested on it. So yeah, let's go for a little test run. Time for a test run, 10 horsepower, 2-stroke. Well, some of you are probably wondering at this point, what happened to the electric outboard and why am I now all of a sudden building and testing this boat for a gas motor? I've modified the hull to become a semi-displacement hull, which is going to lose a little bit of efficiency in displacement mode, but now I'm going gasoline power. So I'm going to give you the really quick version because I've recorded this take like 10 different times. I'm going to try to make this not to be an I hate Newport electric motor company or video. With that being said, I am super thankful. If you saw part 1, my buddy Wayne, who has a channel, Wayne the Boat Guy, I highly recommend you check him out. Wayne hooked me up with that electric outboard, the Newport. And while I'm super thankful and gracious, what I learned through my own trial and error and test runs and research is that perhaps this wasn't the best fit. Newport and me, DIY Water World, and the endeavor I was going to attempt crossing the Gulf Stream, Florida to the Bahamas, on an electric outboard, I decided that the electric outboard, Newport, that wasn't a good fit and decided against it. So I'm continuing my search for a reliable electric outboard, a company that has good customer service, and I am looking for a company that will stand by their product and share some valuable tech information with me. So if you know any companies like that, hook me up. In the meantime, I am continuing with this project. I am going to wait until the end of summer to attempt the crossing with electric outboard, which that'll be the calmest time of the year for crossing the Gulf Stream. And for now, I'm just going to continue plugging away with the gas outboard and having fun with this skiff. And well, you're just gonna have to keep watching the video. These are some scrap pieces I had. I was able to get those knocked out. They've been laminated and sitting outside for a minute. 2 knees would be our deck support. Back trimmed up. Oh yeah. All right, so I had music playing in the background and this got flagged. So I'm having to edit this video and add some voiceover so that music isn't playing. Although I'd love for you guys to see the tunes that I listen to while I build. The conditions of YouTube does not allow me to have music playing, which presents a big challenge for me because I listen to music regularly and religiously when I work. It's what helps me to be creative and get through a work day. So when I film, I pretty much always have to turn off music. It's a bit of a challenge, but well, it is what it is. Isn't that what they say? So right here, I am just spreading a putty over this piece of Kusa board. And this is my liquefied version of a putty. So you can either do this and then laminate directly over it, or you can do a hot coat, which is basically just coating the surface, letting it kick off, and then laminating. I chose to do the more liquid putty. I feel it's a stronger bite, and it's all wet on wet. So right here, I'm just working out air bubbles. And the key when you're working out air bubbles is to go really slow and just take your time. Oh no, this broke my, oh well, happens. All right, so just got this cut out and we are gonna see how it fits. Show you the value of using. Okay, let's see what we got here. Pretty close. Woo, woo! Oh man. Like butter. Oh man, we are like almost a little bit. Oh gosh, no. Shit. Look at that. About a 1 inch, which is what it should be. Gotta make sure this goes flush against the knees back there. A little bit of a gap. But, man, pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna prep this just a little bit so that it fits in a little better. Cut out the cloth for to tab it in. All right, so I got everything ground down where my tabbing will be, and then I gave this a light scuff because be easier to scuff it outside than inside when I go to gel coat. And I got my line and my line here. So what I'm going to do now is, everything's wiped down with acetone. Let's see, that fit is nice. Not crazy snug, just enough gap that when I mix up my putty, I'm going to do my putty along this line that I did. That's kind of my guide. Just marked it with the Sharpie. Same here. And then now, when I go to mix up my putty, I'll do my putty in this section, and then my putty here back. Or basically right on the line. And that way when I slide in the bulkhead, it'll all smush in and be completely covered. And then I will do my tabbing. So right now I'm gonna do my tabbing. There it is. Glassed in. Got putty in between there. It's 3 laminations. Do-do-do-do-do-do. So what I'm gonna do now is, it's kind of cool outside. So I'm gonna be able to work on this in the next hour to cut this and then bond the deck piece. So I'm gonna speed this up. So this is what I'm gonna do. Take the styrofoam. All right. Just put this to space so I wouldn't hit the edge. Yeah, there's a little bit of air can get out, but it's all good. It'll keep it, you can actually get pretty hot because that hair dryer will just keep recirculating the same air, making it hotter and hotter and hotter. So I've got it on low right now, and then I'm just gonna every so often touch the hole, and I'll be able to, I'm probably gonna get it to about 150 degrees in there, which should get this cured really fast. All right, it's been about 20 minutes. Woo! Yeah. Totally cured. You can totally grind that right now. So in 20 minutes, what normally would take a couple hours is totally good to go, and in cold weather. So I'll let this cool off, and then I can trim this and then just grind the inside so that it's prepped for the deck. All right, so right now, what I'm debating is, I got everything ground down. Everything's prepped. So now what I'm gonna do is, I gotta grind the bottom side, make sure it's prepared, and then cut out the shape for this last remaining deck piece and then glass it in. So, all right. That's what we got. The whole bottom side ground down. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do now is mark off where my hatch or hatches are gonna be on this piece, cut them out, and then I'll be able to reach and laminate from the inside all the sides of it. And I'll make some putty for here. That'll just drop in, and then I'll have the glass on the inside. So this whole piece will be glassed in. Basically, all the pieces are glassed in from the inside. Yoo-hoo! Look, starting to come together. There we go. Let's see, we've got our edge sticking over just a tad. That'll help with water, spray, keep it a little drier. But I trimmed also this line. And this is the scrap piece I cut out. I'm thinking about it going kind of like so, but actually cutting it like that and then out, just to have a little, while you're sitting here, this would be have a little shelf underneath, things to grab, binoculars, little bag, maybe like a little net there, something that, I don't know, maybe to the back more, but be able to mount a GPS right there, fish finder. I think it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, switch panel maybe tucked up kind of underneath there, dry, out of the sun. Electrical switch panel, GPS. Wah, 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 wah. Yeah. All right. Got it puttied, got my weights, hold it in place. Wipe the radiuses. Some toasty in there. Starting to get a little warm. All right, got everything buzzed down, smoothed out, rounded everything nice, made a nice little radius, prepped all of the sides. Basically, this is ready to mix up some putty. fill in the little seam and then laminate over this. And then I went and did something. So this was where the old floor went to. This is where my, I guess, like tabbing in, I had done a lamination of 1708 over the old. And the whole reason I've gone ahead and done this, in the back of my mind, it was really bothering me knowing that the front portion of this boat was pretty thin. You know, this, after all, is a rowboat. It was designed to be super lightweight. The whole thing was 100 pounds as a 15-foot boat complete. So needless to say, it's not very thick here. Strong, but, you know, considering I've got everything in the back is just like mega solid. I mean, this is thicker than your average 20-foot center console. I really wanted to make sure that the rest of the boat was just as stout. So even though this was a nice piece up front, there's no way to really salvage it because you can see all this bonding putty where they had bonded that liner. So I've been cutting it out into pieces, ripping the pieces out. It is not easy. I've pretty much ripped everything that I could out. So now I'm going to take the grinder and just start grinding all this. So I'll grind the whole front, and I'm going to give all of this 2 laminations, which will then get me to about a 1/4 inch thickness, which is really, really thick. Yeah, so yeah, a little more work, but definitely some peace of mind, especially going to go crossing the Gulf Stream and something like this. I want it to be stout. I want to trust it. I had a boat bite me in the butt once. I had done an entire rebuild on a boat, and from the factory, it was really just not laid up very thick. And it always made me nervous how thin the actual hole was. And even though I had done stringers, floors, I definitely had an issue. So watch this little clip right now, and you're going to see something that was pretty sketchy. So needless to say, I want this to be stout, and I want to trust it fully, so that if I do decide to cross the Gulf Stream, go to the Bahamas, you know. The other thing this was lacking was this whole front section had no flotation in it. So after I do it, I'm going to probably do a pretty good pod and just fill it with expanding foam. And based on that, plus the fact that there's so many, like this adds a lot of buoyancy. This honeycomb, I've got a whole hollow section under here, but my back chamber is also plenty of flotation for a boat so small and so light. And we've got more recorded audio. So here I am laying out my 1708, just making some lines. I'm getting ready to trim it. And really this is a pivotal part of this build, just getting this deck laminated. This for me was just kind of getting over that hump. This was the spot I spent a lot of time thinking about. Got it laminated. So I did my kind of like a light putty, meaning more liquidy than solid. Coated everything, laid out my cloth, and then wet out from the top, and then rolled it out. Got all the air bubbles out, and got it nice and wrapped around here pretty good. Once this cures, be able to trim this up. Rock and roll. So now I want to check on my sides. Had this heating in here. Oh yeah. Barely warm. That worked out good. Didn't get too hot. Still could use a little more. right, here we go. Whew. It's hard to tell there, but it's all ground down. I'm really glad that I went ahead and did this because it's definitely in some areas pretty thin, but also you can see where it's had some impacts, a little bit of delamination in a couple areas, some of the light spots, but like there's a little void. A lot of peace of mind. So what I'm going to do up here is go for at least 2 laminations, which will get me about a 1/4 inch thickness total overall for this area. So going to be good. A lot of peace of mind. I'm glad I did that, and cut some cloth and let's get ready. So I've also got the bench seat completely prepped now. So that's going to work. Do final trimming and stuff after. That's going to be perfect. Little storage. So it's all ready. You can laminate it from the inside. And then last little, it's going to be about like so. So this is going to be just kind of the mini dash. GPS will mount there. And then, whew, a lot of grinding. Got these ready. So these now need to be trimmed, but that's about it. Starting to come together. That's ugly. Gosh dang it. I need to cut a radius in that. That just looks horrible. It's like a PS. Maybe that'll be the name of the boat. PS. Well, here's my prepped bench seat, my recycled piece. I have got everything laid out. I'm getting ready to laminate the bench seat in, and well, I got my putty laid out. All I need to do now is get the bench seat, drop it on there, put my panel on, and I can start laminating. All right, yeah, I didn't video much of it. I showed you guys the little heat setup, but we are laminated in. Boom. Look at that. Yeah, baby. So, totally cured. And cut some nice radiuses. Starting to take shape. Obviously, these lines need to be cut, and they will be. All right, so next, I'm gonna wipe this down with acetone, and I'm gonna get my laminations done in the front. All right, so here we go. About to lay some mat, and then I'm gonna do upside down 1708. Just stack it. All right. All right, well, last night I ran out of resin. Literally this last section left. So this is just the chop strand mat until where it got dry up front. Yeah. So close. But I got this laminated, chop strand mat, 1708. Super comfy, and like how solid this front section is now. So now I've got to scuff this up and just add at least a lamination. I'm gonna add a couple laminations up front, and then yeah, it'll be good. So I'm gonna trim this down and then scratch it up, get it ready. All right, got all the glass cut out and everything is scuffed up. It's kind of hard to see. So one of the things to think about when you're laminating, especially over fresh resin, so this was gumming my sandpaper up. I'll show you real quick. So when you go to scuff, you know, there's a lot of little imperfections, little bits of fiber or bits that stuck up from the glass. And I wanted to not only get those kind of burred out of the way, but also scratch it up a little bit. So what I want to show you is, look at my sandpaper. See how it just gums up? So it gummed up really easily. So what that tells me, even though this is dry to touch, this is still open. So in theory, and I guess reality, I could laminate right over this. And this is what a lot of boat manufacturers do, is they'll have their lamination schedule, which you've probably heard of before. And that's where they do the first 2 laminations. They spray gel coat, maybe 2 laminations, and then X amount of time, depending on weather and the conditions, and the environment that they're in, they will then know, okay, we've got a 12-hour window, a 24-hour window. So you'll hear of like laminating epoxy or laminating resin. This is polyester. And a laminating resin basically stays sticky longer, where you can just come right over it, maybe deburr it, knock it down like this, and then laminate right over. I got away with that because it's been cold outside. I don't use a lot of hardener, and you know, I'm less than 12 hours from when I laminated this. So it's still sticky-ish. So I can now laminate right over and we'll have no problems. Gosh, I really wish this camera would pick up the scuff marks. There you go, kind of see it. So that's the plan. Laminated all the way up. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's a bunch in there. And then I packed putty. So I laminated, I did 4 laminations, packed putty about 3/4 of an inch, and then laminated another 3. So this is pretty, give you a reference. Right there. We've got pretty good thickness where the bow eye will go through. And then, yeah. So this will be, that's our overlap. I'm gonna have a bulkhead there. That's probably, oh gosh, 3/8 of an inch thick solid glass. Yeah, get these little holes filled. So now what I'm gonna do is cut my cloth for my sides. I went ahead and, since these are different thicknesses, this is like 30+ pound density. This is a lighter density for like decks. I went and tapered that. Kind of nice transition. Everything's prepped. So what I'm gonna do now is mix a tiny bit of putty, fill my little gaps from the top. Got a little bit left over from yesterday. I'm actually going to pack this edge and then glass over it, so that'll be my radius. And then just cloth right over 1708. Getting close. Hee-wee. oh man. She is glassed in. I got all the front done. Oh man. Look at that. I call this boat the puzzle. Looks like a puzzle piece, doesn't it? That's funny. Yes, yes. So this will be old Garmin. Boom! Let's sit right like that. Got everything trimmed up. Nice smooth shear line. Got everything ground down the edges. And then where the bulkhead is gonna go for the forward area. So basically what I'm gonna do next is do the cap. It's gonna go right up to here. All right, so this is the back hatch. It's laminated on the other side. I went ahead and did a 45-degree taper, just hand sanded that edge. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna just do a dab of hot glue on the back side, push it down onto the table, and then I'm going to wax just my edges, and then I'm gonna laminate over this, the whole thing, 2 big laminations, and then do the borders. And what that's gonna do is that will be the bottom of my hatch. I'll be able to flip it upside down and it will fit right in here. Boom, and I'll have a flange that just seals right on the edge. I've got a little gasket I'm gonna use. So it is my easy, quick way to do a hatch. All right, so this is the bottom. Basically that. So I'm gonna cut that out now. And then the center section is then gonna be the cap piece that fills in here. All right. So, go in about like so. About like so. Obviously this has to be trimmed, but we now have our front piece. Why is that thickness different? Oh, there we go. It's gonna be nice. That's gonna be great. Oh yeah. Right, so what I'm using here, it looks like PVC board, but it is not PVC board. This actually has a different kind of density. I forget the exact name of it, but my friends over at Fiberglass Supply in Fort Pierce, my buddy Danny, they sell this there, and it is a really cool product. Danny showed me some pieces that they had already had laminated too, but works really well. Where PVC board, yes, polyester resin will bond to PVC board. You have to scuff it up really well. Epoxy really is the only good way to bond to PVC board. This board, it actually melts a little bit with the polyester resin, so you get a much better bond. It's a little bit lighter weight, and structurally it doesn't have the memory, or it has better memory than PVC. So PVC board, you leave it in the heat, it warps, it flexes. This doesn't do the same. It's just a different, more rigid, lighter weight version of PVC board. You can get it at Fiberglass Supply Inc. in Fort Pierce. Getting there. Woo! right. They're pretty much dry. All right, so I've got my two pieces cut out roughly. So what I do is I put this 2x4 across, and what that does is it makes them parallel with each other. And what I'm doing now is I'm marking the inside line. The way I'm doing that is I'm just holding this like this, running it as my my spacer. So I'll just run that across. Already done that on the bottom side, so I've got my line. See it? Literally just go like that. You can tell I already ran it. Basically, just run this right along. And it's gonna give me my line to cut before I glass it in. So, flip it upside down. That's my pattern. This is the hole. And this is my... See, the lines aren't like perfectly done, but I'm gonna run the circular saw really shallow, get that curve. And then after glassing, I'll do my final cut, which is kind of the same thing here. Like you can tell all these edges don't really align perfect because I went over a little bit, you know, back here. But I'll do my final mark and cut soon, after the whole cap is glassed. So I just run it super shallow, and then it allows the ability to just swing a curve pretty easily. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see how that looks. Oh, whoa. Yep. Yep. All right. I got the other side. So you can see these like don't want to stay on here either balanced. Once you put the wood, some straight beams across, a couple clamps, perfecto. Yoo-wee! That look more like a boat now. It's funny how just two little things just whoop, bring it all together. But for right now, I'm gonna glass these in from the inside, connect them to the front. I'll probably do a clamp like so. Yeah, make sure it's all right. He's ready. Let's rock and roll. Just put a little dab of glue. A couple little dabs in a couple places. The secret to every boat builder, hot glue gun, your best friend. Got my glass ready. Little wet out table. Boom, laminate. So yeah, every morning I get a Wawa iced coffee, and these make really good cups for mixing up resin. I rinse them out, let them dry. Well, there you go. Saves a couple bucks for sure. And guess what time it is? Got it glassed in. There we go. All right, so I taped and then I waxed the perimeter. All right. So what I did was I went a putty on the K-cell, then I tabbed the edge, then I laminated the whole thing with the big squares, and then just wet on wet, I had this remnant piece of K-cell that I just trimmed it to fit, and then just a couple remnant pieces of 1708, and yeah, that should give it a good support. I'll trim it down probably for now. So this is the bottom side of the hatch. Not exactly the way I wanted to do it, but there'll be a nice flange on it. And I think I'm just gonna do like a little gasket. Fiberglass Supply has some nice foam gasket, kind of pre-made deal. Put it on there, and it should, that way it'll have still a pretty low profile and keep some water out. All right, got my glass laid out. Let's laminate, almost there. All right, so I taped off this edge, the outer edge, cleaned it up. Pretty swoopy. So the inside obviously hasn't been done yet. What I did was trim this, and then I took the belt sander and just ran it on the outside edge to really get it where I wanted it. So now I'm gonna wipe this down. I already scuffed this up, ran 40 grit over it. So I'm gonna wipe it with acetone, mix up more resin, laminate. Hoo-wee! Okie dokie, we got our piece. Oy. Oh, look at that. Smooth. Whoa. Here we can see it. And that is perfectly flat. So now this is the top of our hatch. Get this glue. So I had used glue gun to glue it down to the mold, to the melamine. So now I'm going to give this a quick wipe down because there's some wax on that. Give it a quick light sand and then laminate over this, and that'll give us a good build of thickness for the flange, and then also just tie it all as one nice clean lamination over the top. Let's see how it fits. All right, always wear proper safety gear. In some of my past videos, I mentioned that this is my MVP. More than anything, protecting your eyes. It kills me when I see people using power tools, cutting stuff, especially like die grinders or cut-off wheels, high-speed stuff. I can't even tell you how many times, number one, I've had stuff hit safety glasses, but this mask as well. And then obviously this has where if I'm spraying paint, this will filter out the vapors, harmful isocyanates, and the really nasty stuff. If you ever want to know if your respirator is fitting you properly, do like a perfume test where you spray perfume around you or put deodorant right up to the mask. You should not be able to smell it if you're using one of these filters. If you're using just a particulate filter, of course, you'll still smell stuff. But with that being said, take a look. Damn, it's wintertime, but it's still hot. These suits work good. Pretty cool. So here we go. Got everything sanded down. So I did the final trims, the radiuses, Look at all these radius. Woo-wee! You know, for what it is. But got the edges. You know, what I want to do right now is just seal everything in gel coat. I want to put this thing in the water tomorrow. And really, I'm trying to camp in this thing in 48 hours. So I've got my goal. That's my goal. You know, this has been a couple month long build, and I really set before the New Year's, I wanted to have this thing ready. So that's kind of the push that I'm going for now. But as far as my glass work, I'm stopping here. Yes, there's things I want to do farther, but you know, I want to enjoy it. I want to use this thing while the weather's cold out. That's the whole point, is to be able to camp in this center cockpit. So I'm going to go ahead, gel coat all the interior, deck and interior tonight. That's my plan. And that way it's water sealed, and not that water would hurt this, but still it's not, I want it sealed for a lot of different reasons. I got all the back. Good also, should look at this swooping. It's not perfect. A little bit irritating me because I'm OCD with curves, but the hole is also not perfectly symmetrical. So that's kind of part of what I'm battling. I want my bottom to pop out fairly equally. That's it. Well, all trimmed up, all buzzed down the edges. Oh man, look at all these radiuses. Everything sanded. Whew. Nice smooth edges, rounded edges. This puppy is about ready. Yeah. A couple hours of sanding, cutting, grinding. She's ready for gel coat. So it's pretty humid right now. Temperature's dropping. So what I'm going to do is we're going to gel coat in the morning. So early morning gel coat. All right. Everything is wiped down with acetone and ready. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a quick template for this front little bulkhead, lay it up, and then start rolling my gel coat, and I'll be able to come right to it and just wet on wet. The resin should be kicking off for this, and I'll be able to just roll gel coat right over it. Once that cures, I can then do my pour foam for the front half. Let that expand, cure. And yeah, that's the plan. All right, glassed in. Boom. All right, so I'm mid gel coat, and well, it kind of looks like crap. All right, expanding foam, 2-pound density. What's it going? Let's see how close I got in guesstimating its expansion. You know, I took a gamble. I tried to mix up this green. In my mind, the green was going to be a lot better than what it turned out to be. In all fairness, it was evening time. I had fluorescent lights, which definitely throw colors off tremendously. And this was what I came up with. So I'm looking through my phone. It looks a lot better than it does in person. But it is kind of fugly. And then I know this looks like a horrible line. My intention is to do a nice clean tape line on both sides and then an orange pinstripe between the two. So that was the theory there. Got our expanded foam, 2-pound density, closed cell. She's officially unsinkable. So between the front flotation foam, then this back section, and then honestly, the entire under deck, and then all this honeycomb and basically composite materials that float. I mean, this is an easy, probably 600 pounds of flotation. So it would take a lot of something to sink this boat, and it ain't sinking. I guess I'm not changing the green up. Barney, Travis, and JJ, they just stopped by. And, well, they kind of liked it. They said it would be not so bad. They like the green, so I'm going to keep the green. I trust them, so it's less work, too. And they got good taste in boats and wild, funky stuff. So I'm going to keep plugging along. All right, so I mixed up for my second coat of green, I just altered it a little bit. It's a little more sagey, but I think it looks a lot better. What do you guys think? I'm glad you guys told me to keep the green. It's hard to tell in the shadows, but it looks actually, I think it looks even better. Kind of see the difference. This is actually a little bit, you can't tell. Anyways, all right, so you kind of see the difference in the greens. There's the old green. So I mixed a tiny bit for the second coat, added to the green a little orange, and it made it like sage. So now it's, you can't tell in the video. It's hard to tell, but anyhow. Looking like a boat now. All right, this is the hatch, right side up. So you guys already saw it. That's the bottom. Trimmed it. Scuffed it all up on the top side. So I just did one lamination. And then what I'm gonna do next is, once it kicks off, while it's still open, I'll just do gel coat right over it, wet on wet. Look at that beaut! All right, so top lamination is cured. Trimmed it all up. We're a good, not quite a 1/4 inch, but I mean, I don't know. It is pretty thick. Super strong. Just tested it. So it's scuffed down, wiped down. It's ready for gel coat. And now I've got inside taped off. Ready for the orange pinstripe. Let's do it. All right, so anytime you're trying to do bright colors, you always want a white base. Otherwise, I don't care what kind of paint you're using, it definitely throws the colors off, especially yellows, reds, oranges. With the hatch based also. Look how bright that is. All right. Ooh. My boy Cam at Fiberglass, Florida, hooked it up with some neon orange. So first I mixed it with some neutral and it was just way too transparent. So I had to mix a little tooling gel coat, orange, just to give it a little more opaqueness. So here we go. Here's our back hatch. Holy moly, look at that brightness. Well, Travis, Barney, we got some brightness. I love it. Well, there we have it. Mega bright orange. Pretty stoked with it. You know, anytime you're trying to do tape lines, you want to use line tape, and it's important that your surface is like perfectly smooth. Probably looks way better in video, but some of the edges are, you see up close, there's some white that bled through. But overall, pretty freaking cool. Oh, she's bright. So I didn't go super, I gave it a couple coats. This is actually, I think, 3 coats to try to get it to cover. But the C deck is going to be, probably have about an inch relief around the edge. That's the idea. All right, taking forever to dry. Going with the oven. Wait. One hand. Oh God. Oh God. A lot of wind. A little bit windy. It sure is bright. All right, so last night I got the hatch covered. Came out pretty cool. You know, it's definitely tricky with this router trying to do such a shallow depth, and I have limited router bits, but anyhow, this is where I'm at. I just did these 2 outer pieces, gonna get ready to stick them. Something like that, actually. Incredibly time consuming, yeah. And I mean, it's not for a showboat. You can definitely tell when you get up close. The more I butcher these C deck, thank goodness these were like remnant pieces, but definitely for the size of a small boat, it's worth having the professionals do it. I'm gonna have to step up my C deck game. All right, so I'm about to do the biggest piece in the bunch and try not to. I was actually really nervous running the router on this. It actually came out pretty good. You know, kind of always, whenever you're doing something you haven't really done before, running a router on material that you're not familiar with, always test on scrap stuff and then start with the piece that's the least important. So I'm kind of finishing on the most important piece, which was this biggest piece I got. So boom, we got a floor. Wow, this is the first time I've ever had C deck in my own boat. This is the moment we've been waiting for. Test run with the 6 horsepower. Haven't done 6 horsepower yet with this, so pretty excited. Head to the boat ramp and go for a cruise. Slippery. Look at that beaut. Woo. All right, man. So I just gotta say, it is so easy to walk around on this boat. Stability wise, it's just awesome when you're in the center, especially. I mean, no problem. Oh, it is on the back deck. Yes! We're doing it. Time for a test run. Partial throttle, easy. Definitely helps when I'm a little bit forward. So it takes about half a mile an hour difference between me sitting midship and then to the stern. Right now I'm sitting pretty comfy. Not as quiet as the electric, but not even close to as quiet. Definitely a lot more power. So, this thing is awesome. I mean, I've test run it and knew it was pretty sweet, but you know, with everything in it, full tank of gas, I've got right here about 6-7 hours of runtime, and that would be at like full throttle. But this thing is just partial throttle, 10.5, 11 miles an hour, cakewalk. That's like the magic speed with this thing. I mean, right now I'm like almost idling. I'm probably doing 6 miles an hour against current, but topping out right at like 15 miles per hour, which I thought it would be a scotch faster, but I can't complain. It definitely makes a difference when I'm sitting midship, which is right about the break of the sea deck here. So I think it's going to work out really well, either with the passenger up front, the balance will be phenomenal, or you know, for an overnight stay, bags, everything. The whole idea is batteries, camping gear, canvas, everything goes in the front compartment with a Dodger over it, and then just always keeps the cockpit open. It's pretty. What's really cool is the stability in this thing. I mean, very comfy, sure-footed. All right, so I've been cruising up current, good 30, 45 minutes. Check our fuel. It hasn't even Oh my gosh. And I think these 6 horsepower 4 strokes, for the most part, they burn at wide open throttle 2 liters per hour. So that's just over half a gallon an hour at wide open throttle. So considering I haven't been going wide open throttle, so I guess a quart maybe I burned. It's a partial throttle. I could get almost 4 hours runtime. Pretty insane. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I wanna take off this hydrofoil. The motor's definitely sitting too low, and I don't know, it's probably a trade-off. I'm getting some lift in the stern, which this needs. But I'm only stern heavy because I have the fuel tank, there's nobody up front, no gear up front. So what I'd like to do is try to maybe balance the boat more to get the attitude proper, and then get rid of this hydrofoil just to see. I know the motor needs to be higher at height, so I'm gonna unbolt it real quick and then do a test run. All right, those of you wondering, this is a 9 pitch prop, 7.8 diameter, 9 pitch. It's pretty much the biggest you can find for a Mercury. All right, so now we're gonna see with the cavitation plate off. I already feel like we're actually sitting a little higher. Well, let's see what happens. All right, so there really wasn't much of a difference at all without the cavitation plate. Maybe it squatted a tiny bit, but didn't really feel like it. Same miles per hour. The only thing that actually felt different was actually partial throttle. It definitely felt quicker. So, you know, cavitation plate is one of those that if the motor's not trimmed perfectly, it could be potential drag. So it's pretty good. Easy cruise. This is the sweet spot. Just not too much throttle, 13 miles an hour. Full throttle doesn't do much more. Well, what a good test run. So I'm actually really mind blown how stable this boat actually is. It's very easy to stand on that center section, the bench seat, or in the very back. Incredibly stable. And obviously it helps in a skinny boat when you stay towards the center, but just overall, I couldn't ask for more. I mean, just doing fuel consumption now, 2 days of running around, I mean, 25 miles per gallon is cakewalk for this. So cruising speed, about 12 and a half, 13 miles per hour. And then top speed is right around 15. So, and it's bouncing off the rev limiter. So I could actually still go higher pitch in the prop. This is a 9 pitch, which is really the highest I could find for a little mercury. So I might, oh God, it'll be ridiculous, send it out to a prop shop, have them add an inch or two of pitch to one of these props that I have, which then taking like a $40 prop and making it a $100 prop. But you know, it would be interesting too. I'd like to do a test run where I put a full load or like 2 people in it, then with the prop, and see how it does. But I can't complain. I mean, God, just, I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. That sea deck is absolutely, you know, there's a time and place for everything. I'm a big non-skid person, but for something that like this that I want to sleep on, and you know, that's kind of already added cushion, and it's just comfort for long distance. And then, look at this. Boom. I'm gonna rotate it. So I'm excited to bring this boat here back to Stuart Jensen Beach, and I am getting ready to go for a test run with Chelsea. Chelsea, you've probably seen her in a past video where she runs the Coco Loco business out at the Stuart Sandbar. There's a video where I recycled a couple different boats. Her and I built this boat together. Really cool build. I highly recommend you check it out. But needless to say, Chelsea is going to utilize this boat over the next couple months for her Coco Loco business, selling fruit and all sorts of fruit pops and really cool stuff. You should definitely check it out. So we're getting ready to go for a test run, and it's going to be cool to see her first impressions on the boat and to test run it fully loaded. 2 full-grown adults, gear. So let's keep going. Here we go. First run. If you want.
Fuck yeah. This is my jam.
She doesn't play around. She knows.
Oh, I love
Cruising! So awesome. So I just asked Chelsea, I'm like, was that full speed? She's like, no. Come on, girl. So here she comes. She's about to do a full speed pass. It's really cool seeing this boat in the water from a different perspective. It cruises. It rides so good. This is carving. And here you go, folks. This is the Coco Loco fleet. Nothing makes me happier than seeing a friend use something I built and seeing this boat, the final product. I mean, look at this with those bamboo little lids that just really sets it off in true Coco Loco style. So the finished version of this boat, for now, this is it. Well, friends, this concludes the end of the skinny boat build. I hope you have enjoyed this video. This was a long one. This is the longest video by far I've ever created. For those of you that are used to the channel, you probably noticed some differences in my editing, things that I tried to incorporate. You guys wanted to see more of the process. So, well, that's what I did. And well, this is what happens. The videos get really long. I have edited probably 10 hours of footage. It's over the last several months. So anyhow, I appreciate so much you guys being here. I appreciate those of you that hung in there till the end of this video and watched everything. And like always, thank you for being here. Your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, they mean the world to me and really motivate me to keep building. So thank you, and I'll see you soon.